Welcome to the WiseGuy channel. Without further ado, let's get into the video and watch it together. What you're looking at is an image that was posted by my realtor on the multiple listing, right? And it's of the last property I managed to purchase and flip in the state of California. Little did I know this was going to be my last property, right? I was going to flip before relocating out of the state, right? Due to the pandemic. Now, looking back, I'm thinking what a great opportunity this property was. Not only did I got to help keep the street from collapsing down the hill, I managed to pretty much settle an easement, right? And we'll tell you more about that as you're watching the video. But this whole property was red tagged, right? Which means deemed unsafe to live in. If you look at the middle structure, right, of this image, right, that's a 2-bedroom house that basically has been red tagged, right? It needed everything to say the least, right? And then the best way to put it, I got the opportunity to be the Lone Ranger and practice my trade skills again, right? Due to the pandemic, I got to build a deck as well as drop a septic tank in, which you're going to get to see in the video. So, anyway, grab your popcorn, right? And let's watch it together and get started. Because I want to keep you interested in watching the video, let me show you a couple photos of the final product. Now, take a look at the title of this pretty much California document. It says Notice of Fire Hazard. This is what was given to the contracting company that basically I purchased the property from years earlier, right? And they just refused to clean, okay, all the brush. And keep in mind, there's an easement. Literally, even how I looked at it, well, if we look at basically the regulations, 100 feet, right? So we're got to be cleaning up basically the other lot to the left of us, right? So we are in compliance. Take a look at the property line. I'll show you another photo right after what I'm about ready to tell you, right? And the best way to put it, it falls on a staircase that connects the two decks, right? And I'll give you a few more photos of his property, right? Okay, so you kind of get a better idea. All right. Now, I take a lot of pride in basically the fact that I'm very good at conflict resolution, right? And this is something that was never settled since 1945. And when I approached the owner for permission to go on his property, right, and give him a pro bono, right, we're talking about free cleanup for the fire marshal as well as the building department. Look at that shed. You can see the vent pipe, right? So you can have a non-permitted shed on your property 10 by 10, but you can't have utilities in it, right? On top of that, it was leaking, it was sheetrock, it was really nasty and gross. We needed to clean that up for the sale or flip on my property. Anyway, here's what I'll share with you. The owner told me, right, that pretty much he'll squeeze me for $50,000. Everybody's trying to buy that property from him. Every owner. You know, I believe in kindness, right? And also honesty, right? I got him to sign the permission slip on the pro bono, right? Cleanup, right? So he has no liability of on the fire marshal or the building department. And then as I was lining up uh, my listing agent, I pretty much spoke to them and pretty much told them, yeah, I'm going to speak to the owner of pretty much the Jason lot where we have an easement to settle that right issue, so you don't have to worry about it when you're trying to sell my property. Right? It was a mistake that was made in 1945, and I told him my plan. Right? I go, we're going to offer him $10,000, the best way to put it, and the purchaser of my property will be the one paying him, so he gets paid at closing. Right? And all I have to do is get him to sign a listing agreement with you, right? And what I'm asking you guys to do, right, when you write it up, is he doesn't have to pay realtor fees. That's 6%. Anyway, I got my agent agree with it, right? And I'll tell you something. It took me to the last 10 days I was in escrow. I was really happy to do something good, I would say, for the community and fix that issue once and for all that was created in 1945. And of course, there was the retaining wall that basically held up the roadway, right? The original contractor started it but failed to finish it, right? So we had to create the entryway into it as well as get it pretty much completed and signed off with the local building department. No big deal. We were happy to do so. Now, I want you to take a look, right? You could just see with the retaining wall, and the dark gray area is the road. That retaining wall actually holds up the road. And the construction company that basically I purchased the property from, right? They were so close to completing. It was a shame. When I was with the building department before I even purchased it, my comment to him, I said, "Man, I'm reading your inspection reports, and it reads like domestic violence, like a police report." And he said, "Oh yeah, this property basically created a lot of problems, right, for the construction company that you're considering buying it from. So I want to pre-warn you." Now I'm very resilient, right? And stuff. And I finished it, right? The best way to put it, right? I like the challenge. I do. I like the challenge. Okay, what you're looking at is 2 pages of the blueprints for that retaining wall that's holding up the roadway. Now, on the right side, you'll see that red arrow with the two arrowheads on each end. That's the road. Now, look at those little arrows, right? There's a total of basically seven. You see the lateral forces? It's going in the direction of the house. That's because that wall is responsible for holding up the road above. Yeah, this was a cool flip. Now, you look at this drawing, right? For you folks that don't know what I'm about to talk about, I will, at the end of this, right, what I'm about to tell you, I'll put a quick photo. Yeah, those soldiers, right, those pile wall soldiers, they went deep. They penetrated pretty much 18 feet down. Yeah, this was a good flip because it is more like engineer construction, engineering. Yeah, maybe it's time to show you the interior of that little two-bedroom house. Now, before we go inside, let me tell you something. Whenever I renovate anything, my styling is just the same as the corporations that are building a house from the ground up, right? We're using the same materials. So when you look at what I'm about ready to show you, right, it's no different than the home I'm living in right now. The walls are textured the same. We're using the same light switches, outlets, cabinets, flooring. So, anyway, let's get going and bring you into the interior of that two-bedroom house. All right, take a look at this deck. Some of you might be thinking, whoa, that's a big deck, right? But not really, right? It took me about 10 days to create it by myself. The worst part was just bringing the material, basically, uh, down those stairs, right? It was like working out on a stairmaster, right? And then I had to haul the old deck back up to the work truck, right, to haul off to the dumps. Now, if you go back on the Wise Guy basically backyard channel, you'll see me showing you the techniques, right? How to build a deck in part 39. So please, that shows you the exact basically method I use to build this deck quick and simple. All right, so I was saying part 39, right? This is a viewing deck. I fabricated that in a day and a half, right? I want you to know as a teenager, I used to put those together, right? All for the neighbors, right? Go in there one day, in and out, right? My neighbors, right? My mother and father's neighbors just loved me. All right. So, anyway, the technique is the same. So, please watch this video. It's a very good video for anybody who's first time starting out in deck building. Now, I'll get into next, right? The difference of that big deck that was connected to the basic flipper house, but it was still the same principles. All right, now take a look at this, right? See how it says a half inch gap engineered? Yes, you have to have, right, between your exterior envelope and your deck, a half-inch gap. So any rain, water could just pass right through, literally. So moisture could evaporate, right, between the deck and your exterior basically of your home. Otherwise, you're just going to end up creating an area where rot can form. All right, let's get back into talking more about now the railings of my deck systems. Now, take a look at this, right? This is my system. It was created by feedback I was getting from my clients, right? So, when the horizontal railing system came out, I thought, hey, it's a great system, right? But it was a cable system. And there was a flaw in that design, right? What was happening is children basically usually like to step on the cables and they stretch them out, right? And they would put on one end basically an adjustment basically coupling. So this way you could take the slack out, but they were problematic, right? And eventually what happens is the post gets damaged, the cable stretches out, right? And plus the clients really didn't like that thin look. So what I came up with, and I believe I'm the only one in the industry that basically has done this design, half-inch aluminum dowel. They're single components. If one basically got damaged because they're modular, they could be easily changed out. All right, so as you look at this thumbnail I created, and I'm going to say this is going to also be a closing statement. I'm going to have basically use it for two purposes, right? I want to paint a picture for you because you're about ready to see a clip, right? It was a video I basically sent to Miss WiseGuy. Now she was worried about me because I was dropping a basically septic tank in the hole, right? And it's basically a hole I dug out, right? And I think the only reason why she was worried about me, right? Because you know, like basically I was had two basically steroid shots, if you know what I mean. I was working through an injury, right? The best way to put it. I was digging like going to China, right? Maintaining my schedule. Now, when I say pandemic, right? Oh man, now I want you to know something. I've always on all my projects, I'm always running multiple projects. I always have basically I do a risk assessment. I analyze any type of basically, uh, you know, strategically what could go wrong and have a plan B in basically in place just to deal with those risks. But no, pandemic, I mean, geez, I mean, unbelievable, right? And then I want you to know something too, right? Okay. And especially, I mentioned Miss Wise Guy. I'm going to dedicate this video to you, Miss Wise Guy, because I'm really proud of you, right? You hung with me all the way through, right? Okay, so take a look at now. I want you to Miss Wise Guy was right there along what I'm about ready to tell you. I'm really proud of you, honey. Okay, so you see this thumbnail how it's black, right? Okay, so at one point, right, because the forest fires up in the Santa Rosa area, right? It's 8 o'clock in the morning and we had to deal with the smoke. The sun was blacked out completely. That's how bad the smoke was, right? And then they even stopped Highway 40, right? We had six trips from the Bay Area into the Albuquerque area, right? And we're pulling, and thank goodness for U-Haul, right? We're pulling U-Haul basically big trucks with a trailer with all our motorcycles and stuff, all our toys. Yeah, Miss Wise Guy hung all the way through. Right, that was brutal. That one trip that basically, due to politics, they stopped Highway 40. We were up for like, I don't know, that was like a marathon. I think it was over 40 hours, right? We drove all the way through, just sitting there baking in the sun and the basically on the freeway. Pandemic. Yeah, and politics. Oh, jeez, man. You know what I mean? And then I want you to know, as I'm finishing up my projects, right? Okay. And the best way to put it, man, thank goodness with my vendors, right? Having a good relationship with them. Now, okay, that created delays, but I managed to get my materials. Anyway, enjoy the last bit of this video. And if you're new to the channel, thank you for watching. And if you're basically part of my 85 subscribers, thank you for watching all the way through this video. I really appreciate you guys. And I'll end by saying I'll see you on the next video. Very confident. Okay. Throw a rope over this thing. I got to still build a platform to slide the tank onto there and then level the bottom out. Should be no big deal. So it's in. Just got to cover it up and get out of here. I'm tired. Back is sore. Okay. Got one side hooked up. Got finish hooking up the other side. If you're curious how I got the septic tank into the hole, I used a come along. All right. It was actually quite easy once I basically built the A-frame above, right, to pretty much suspend the rope, right, and guide the tank into the hole. I want to thank you for watching the video, and please, we could use your help. Hit the like button and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.